Hi everyone. Today we're here to discuss about one of our team members, Casey. On Saturday, when I was trying to compile all our reports to make the draft submission, I identified that in Casey's work, he had straight up copied text from identified and unidentified sources. I could just find the same passages with a simple internet search, and there has not even been any citations given. So immediately I tried to contact Casey, but for few hours I did not hear back. And then I thought it's important that the team is in the loop and knows what is happening. Because if this would have been submitted, then we are possibly looking at plagiarism accusations, and that would have had very severe consequences. So I, as you all know, sent over a mail to everyone citing what has happened. And then after a while, I received a message from Casey apologizing. And then he did add the citations, but I felt it was a very half-hearted work and insincere effort. And that on speaking directly with all the team members as well, I thought everyone is either avoiding the conversation or is not understanding the severity of our situation. We are talking about a potential plagiarism accusation of the whole team. All our efforts would have gone in vain if that would have been submitted. That is why we are here to discuss on this meeting. So to start with, I would like to know what Tejasvi as the advisor thinks about how should we proceed with this.
Thank you, Pujita. Firstly, I appreciate that all of you are taking out time and effort in having a conversation about this and trying to resolve this. But let me tell you that what you're looking at is not something very simple. This is a violation of the rules, and this must not be entertained at any cost, right? We have these regulations for a purpose, and everyone must abide to them, right? And this must be followed at a very personal level. Each of you, when you're making your own submissions, you must take the responsibility and accountability of the work that you're submitting. And particularly in this case, like TJ Pujita has mentioned correctly, it not just affects that individual, but it also has some repercussions for the entire team. And the repercussions could be as severe as being rusticated. You might have come across things like these even at professional workspaces. You would have seen the news about Deloitte submitting certain AI content, right? And there were serious repercussions about it, including certain monetary penalties that they had to go to, which is huge, right? So these are things that all of you must inculcate right from now as a student, and take it forward through your professional journey across different fronts in life, right? So what I would strongly recommend is do not entertain any such practices. Call it out right then and there, report it to the concerned authorities, and you must take a serious action about these. It is not something that can be acceptable by anyone. That would be my advice.
Thank you, Tejasvi. I would like to know what Arunajit thinks about the advice.
Yeah, thank you, Pujita. So, yeah, so since I compiled our first assignment, so I am like kind of looking at from a very strictly practical side, and I kind of disagree with the advisor as well. That, but yeah, but definitely we cannot just brush it under the rug. The honor code strictly super strict about this kind of like errors, I would say. If the professor like catches it in the first place, then the whole team might be at risk of getting a zero. So it's just the risk that we cannot afford. So honestly, like if we look at the like 10 C's of the teamwork, we are actually failing on the few big ones. The communication, as Casey didn't pick up the phone when we actually needed him, which is like a very major breakdown. And about the commitment, the copy paste work actually shows that she lacks commitment to the team success. So this few I would say like errors or like mistakes like is pointing me in kind of like I would suggest that that we should not avoid this kind of conflict, but actually like fix the process. Obviously, we should not like take a very hard step at this moment, as just the 20% of our assignment is left. So I would say just keep it internal and avoid like blowing up the team. But yeah, definitely I would say, as I have previously compiled the reports, Casey may be some sort of like taking light on this work. So I would definitely suggest giving kind of a deadline to actually rewrite what the error he has made with proper citations. And for the final assignment, I would really suggest that we should go for a peer review gate, that everyone submits their work beforehand so that we can check it. And once it's done, then only we can ensure that we are collaborating together and coordinating between each other among us. So this is would be my stand. Let's keep it gentle and let's keep it steady and get work done with the rest 20% of the assignment.
Thank you, Arnajit. And as Arnajit mentioned, I want to bring it to everyone's attention that Arnajit is the one who compiled the previous submission of ours. And it has been a repetitive behavior now from Casey's end that not only the submission is received late, everyone else has not done the same mistake. Everyone has been submitting on time. But Casey has been consistently, now this is the second time of the three submissions that we're supposed to be making, that we received the submission late, and the same issue with not giving proper citations. Being said that, Tushar, what do you think about it?
Okay, so I would like to disagree with the advisor here. Advisor had said in a very I'm not saying that in those exact words to like escalate the issue, but I see the concern here. Obviously, we students are at a very kind of a cliffhanger here. If we are using those practices and if it leads to malpractices, we can have a very substantial consequence. So I do agree with that, but I agree with Anajit more here, that resolving it in ourselves should be the first step towards it. How to do that is something that we as a team need to work on. Yes, I can understand, TJ, that you have like when you had addressed this issue, Casey did not comply with whatever you were saying. You did not get the fulfilling results of the citations being properly mentioned. But I would like to just mention here that our team may be lacking some communication here, that what exactly is to be done for those citations and for proper citations. Maybe it is a skill gap that Casey is having. Maybe Casey does not really know how to cite these properly. Because many students, as we are in just second year, we do not know how technical writing is supposed to be done, and this is what we are learning from our curriculum. So that is why I give a benefit of the doubt to Casey. Maybe this is a skill gap. Maybe we should, as a team, focus on our strengthening our communication and giving Casey a sincere chance, and also addressing the issue internally with a proper meeting that we are having here as of now with Casey as well, so that giving Casey a chance to speak what exactly is the problem, because I am also certain that Casey himself would not want to jeopardize his career. I know that TJ is very disappointed that there is a very big risk here which comes upon us if it had been a very big issue, that is of plagiarism. But I do not think that Casey would want to do that to himself. So, what exactly is the issue? Is it an issue of skill gap, accountability, or just lethargy? So, identifying that issue, working on that would be the whole and soul a solution what teamwork is proposing, as Arnajit mentioned with 10 C's of teamwork. So before taking it to the advisor, I also want to mention here that advisor might, as you know, ma'am might not be aware about our team culture. How exactly we are working and operating as a team. She does not know what communication problems we are having in a team. So obviously she will advise to take it to the authorities and then complain about it, which is totally fine. But are we completing our part as well, that we go to the advisor? Is that something that we are supposed to do, or is there a step behind that? Are we supposed to face it and try to solve it internally? Is that something that I would like to wish upon? So that is my part.
Thank you, Tushar. And now that you've mentioned it, that there could be some sort of skill gap from Casey's end or a communication gap as such from the team, I think it is important that all of us keep this in mind going forward. That maybe we did not provide a comfortable enough environment as a team for Casey to come forward and say that, hey, I did not know how to do this, or ask for help, and maybe we as a team should have been proactive to discuss certain details as how they're supposed to be done, and if they're not in our scope, know to go and approach the right experts and get the correct advice. So now that you've mentioned it, I do see it from a different side. We should probably give a benefit of doubt to Casey. Swagato, what do you think about it?
Yeah, so firstly, thank you, Pujita, and also warm welcome to my team, so to us, and also to respected advisor ma'am present here. So one thing that I would like to start off with, firstly, I am almost at par, and I totally agree with what Tushar and Amajit has said regarding this issue. And I would just like to add on a few points. Firstly, see, this issue, I mean, Casey has already has given his explanation in the email itself. I can totally understand that TJ, you must you're not very satisfied with that answer. We can talk that out and sort it out. That's fair enough. And also from Casey's side, I think what you're claiming or you're saying as you're half-hearted. I mean, after he has been given the work as a repeat and then he has done his part of the work, and exactly I am actually agreeing to what Tushar is saying, that maybe there is a lack of skill, maybe he doesn't know how to do proper citations, and that's why it's turning out to be a plagiarism. It's not, I don't personally feel it's going to be a plagiarized work in that way. And also another thing is we are a team, so two things that rather comes up. One is the question of accountability. I mean, if he is making a mistake, it's also our responsibility to see that that doesn't get posted finally. That's why a team game works. That is how it's supposed to be. And second of all, I think we need to be more consistent. Like Tushar and Arnajit both have talked about the C's of communication and teamwork and these things. And I also personally feel that this 10 C's of teamwork, this also has being considerate is also an important factor. So I think we should also give him a fair chance. And also to talk about plagiarism, yeah, it's very true that if things turned out to be plagiarized, then the consequences are severe. But I don't think that is how it was supposed to be. I think it's just a very wrong narrative that got dispersed, and we are actually thinking in a very negative way. But I feel that because it's a six-member team, we know exactly what we are doing. So I think if the responsibilities are distributed equally or equivalently, rather, I think it will not be an issue. We can just look forward to the 20% assignment that we are left with. It will be it will be sorted, I believe. That's it.
Thank you, Swagato. I just wanted to make it clear that we're talking about a potential issue that would have happened. If at all, Casey was the one who was given the responsibility of compilation, and given that when he was responsible for solely, he thought it was an okay submission, he might have as well made the same decision when he was compiling the report. And that would have been just sent across because in the previous submission, it was Arnajit who was doing the compilation. So since we were taking it on rotation, it could have very much been Casey who was compiling the work. And we would have completely put our trust on Casey that he would give a good submission on behalf of the team. While we did make sure that it would be an initial draft and we would all also have gone through it, but there's always a scope that we as humans could skip that. And if at all it did end up getting submitted, that's what I was more concerned about, that it was would have been a very severe issue that all of us would have been facing. And I think we as team have to strong stand about that as to what are we potentially looking at and what do we encourage or discourage here as a team. Being said that, Aditya, what do you think about it?
Yeah, thank you, Pujita. So, I would like to apologize, first of all, for not being very active in the discussions regarding this issue because I was actually just trying to, avoid the internal conflict and the arguments. But after listening to what the advisor said now, I am quite convinced that we need to take the hardline approach. So, looking at this through the lens of virtue ethics, we have to ask ourselves what kind of professionals are we becoming? So when you know that somebody is being dishonest with their academic work and like have plagiarized in their academic work, and still if we are ready to hide it, we are actually compromising on our own integrity. And also, why do we have to take all the liability for Casey's mistake? Personally, I am not willing to, put my academic standing at risk just to preserve the team dynamics. So I would completely agree with what our advisor said, and that would be my stand. And I actually think you guys are being a little too diplomatic, and I don't think we need to act like a, you know, shield for Casey's actions. So that's what my stand is. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. I think it has been made clear by both the advisor, Tejasvi and Aditya, that what are we looking at, the consequences. But at the same time, I'd like to, being heard Arnajit, Tushar, and what Swagato say, give a benefit of doubt to Casey, and especially considering the fact that we're all still students and there is a long future that we're looking forward to, and we would not want to intentionally jeopardize with that, not with our own futures, neither with another student, a teammate of ours. So I would also now stand by the point that we can give Casey a chance, but it is very important that we convey on what basis is Casey being given this chance. Casey must clearly understand that it can happen twice, but the thrice, if it's happened, it's going to put all of us at stake, and including Casey's future at stake, which neither of us want to be facing. And it has to be made absolutely clear. All of us should stand together as a team and convey this to Casey. I would expect all of you to not avoid the situation or try to be diplomatic about this. As Aditya was saying, it is important that we actually take a strong stand about this. At the same time, we should also be considerate of the fact of what, where did we go wrong as a team for this situation to have come. And I'd like to bring it to everyone's light that when we are thinking of giving Casey a chance, which is what the majority over here says, we are standing at a potential risk that Casey might repeat this again. And if at all that happens, we've discussed it enough as to what can happen. So is everyone okay with taking that gamble, in spite of knowing there could be a 1% chance if Casey would repeat the mistake? And are we still okay with giving an understanding towards Casey? I want to hear you guys say about it.
So I am open to a middle ground, but it actually needs to function as a strict escalation metric. So if we are willing to go ahead and report if something like this happens again, and if we find something during the peer review again, and if we notice some sort of plagiarism again, and even if there is a delay in the submission, we should definitely go ahead and report. So that is what I would say. But I'm okay with giving him another chance.
I have an opinion
Which,
about like how TJ said that this is quite serious, and I agree with the faculty as well that this is quite serious. Um, there are other ways to deal with this, and every problem has a solution if we look hard enough. It comes down to our team's responsibility as well, how we are addressing the identification of plagiarism. Like TJ mentioned that TJ was going through the document. He selected the text and put it on the internet and found that it was a copy pasted article. Maybe there are better ways to identify this without doing those particular steps. Like for example, there are official ways like Turnitin, and if we do not want to pay for those sites, there are other sites as well which do the plagiarism checks for free. So we could look towards them. I'm not saying that yes, this is something that we should do because Casey will obviously do plagiarize work, and we should every time check before Casey submits everything that, oh, is it plagiarized or not, and then we will call out Casey that, oh, this text is plagiarized, please fix this. But what I'm trying to say here is that, as Arnajit and Swagato said, that it's not about like targeting a person towards what had happened. There is a bigger picture to look at. There is a teamwork to look at, and what are the potential solutions to our issues that we could provide in order to deal with them before going to the faculty or before addressing the faculty. So yes, this is what I think.
Thank you, Tushar. I think that's a great suggestion that going forward we could probably use tools rather than relying on human errors, if at all they might occur, might as well help us with minimizing the time that we spent on it. Swagato or Najit, do you have anything to say about it?
Going on, yeah, my stand would be after interacting with the whole conversation, that what feel is like to keep this thing, since this is the majority part, right? The 20% we have to, this is the only part is left to be done. So let's keep it on the internal checks, and let's have a strict provision to check them internally, and let's know the side of the cases that was going on actually. And let's, I would say, to be gentle, not be harsh and taking drastic decisions, which might ultimately lead to put the whole team at a much bigger risk. I would say let's deal with it internally and get a solution out of it, and let's get this project done right away.
Thank you, Arnajit. Before we conclude, do you want to add anything, Tejasvi?
Yes, I do. I would like all of you to keep two things in mind, that it is not just the scale of the issue that matters, whether it's a small plagiarism or a big one, both have severe repercussions. I want all of you to remember that. And in case of any skill gap, like some of you have mentioned, and some of you have acknowledged, that you have resources that you can reach out to, and we will be more than happy to help in case of any such technical gaps. Thank you.
Thank you, Tejasvi.
Yeah.
I think we could
Thank you.
conclude that
Thank you.
from what the advice we got, we definitely understand the severity of the situation. But at the same time, we would like to not take it beyond the team and solve it within ourselves by discussing and changing the ways how we approach the next submission that is coming towards us, especially given the fact that it has 20% of weightage. So that's what our conclusion is. We are going to discuss with Casey and ensure from all angles, from Casey's perspective and from the team perspective as well, that we are not landing up in a similar situation again. Thank you everyone for joining today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.